Good evening, everyone. I want to call the September 2nd, 2025 regular meeting of the Union County Board of Commissioners to order. At this time, I would like, before I turn this over to Commissioner Clancy Balcom, I would like to, we're going to have a moment of silence to recognize an incredible Union County patriot by the name of Sergeant Michael Verardo. Sergeant Verardo, again, is a citizen of Union County, an amazing human being. He is originally from Rhode Island. He was born February 16th, 1985, and he was catastrophically injured while serving as a trooper, a jumper in Afghanistan. And he had, I think they said today, many times he had 120 surgeries after that. Even after that horrific accident that almost took his life, his high school sweetheart, Sarah Verardo, rushed to his side to be by his side. And she helped him through his initial recovery, which he ended up spending the next 15 years recovering. But Michael and Sarah did marry after he made it back home, and they had 3 beautiful young daughters together. And today, early this morning, we celebrated his life and his service to the country, to our country, so that all of us can live the lives that we want to live and have the freedoms that we have in this country. And I would like to take a couple of minutes, a moment of silence, to honor the amazing Verardo family and the life of Sergeant Michael Verardo, and the legacy that he will leave behind, that he and his wife started, called the Independence Fund, that takes care of other tragically wounded veterans to give them mobility and to also help with healing for mental health for our veterans. So again, that is right here in Union County. It's known worldwide, nationwide, the Independence Fund, and I would encourage everyone to look that up and get to know the Independence Fund. But I think it's an amazing honor to have this family here in Union County. If we could just bow our heads, if you so choose, for a couple of minutes to remember Michael. Thank you all very much. Our thoughts and prayers are with Sarah and the girls, and I look forward to this community supporting her and the children as they learn life without their husband and their amazing father. I will now turn this over to Commissioner Clancy Balcom for the invocation.
If you're so inclined, would you bow your head, please? Lord, we love you, we praise you, we thank you for all your many blessings. We know that every good and perfect gift comes from you. So, Lord, as we bow, we do lift up the Verardo family. Pray that you would be with them, that they have that peace that surpasseth all understanding, and you would guide them and make yourself known to them through this time. Lord, as we conduct the business put before us this evening, Lord, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. And Lord, we know that it's the fear of you at the beginning of all wisdom. So Lord, we just seek you in this, that we would conduct ourselves in a way that would be pleasing in your sight, and that you would guide us through making these decisions. So Lord, as we move forward, we just want to say we love you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
You all please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on the agenda is informal comments from the community. Has anyone signed up for informal? No,
No,
none
ma'am.
tonight. No one from the Scouts wants to speak tonight? I'll just say welcome. Thank you for being here. My two sons are Eagle Scouts, and I love seeing the uniforms visit our chamber. So thank you for being here tonight. The next three items on our agenda are all public hearings related to transportation grant funding applications. Specifically, the following public hearings will be conducted at the same time. If you wish to speak on a particular item, please identify that item in your remarks. Otherwise, we will assume you are speaking as to all items collectively. Item 25-535, public hearing for FFY 23 and 24 and 25. 5307, urbanized area formula funding application. Number 2, item 25-537, public hearing for FY 2027 combined capital transportation grant funding. And number 3, item 25-538, a public hearing for FY 2027 5311 administrative non-urbanized area formula program transportation grant application. I will now open each of these public hearings and recognize Teresa Torres, Transportation Director, for comments from staff.
Madam Chair, members of the board, County Manager Matthews, good evening. So like you said, we have 3 grants on the public hearing today. The first is our 5307 urbanized funding. This will have 3 years of funding for FY 23, 24, and 25. The grants, all 3 of them, are totaling over $6,797,000. They will be used for operational costs and capital costs. Operational is 50-50, and capital is 80-20. Operational costs will be used to cover a portion of the, can I go? Of the demand response service and also the 74X service. And then the capital will cover a 1% security minimum requirement and a 0.75% safety requirement. And it will also be used to do the facility renovations at the Progress Building. The operational local match is $2,098,000, and the capital local match would be $520,000. The next public hearing is for the FY 27 Combined Capital Grant. This funding covers replacement vehicles who have met useful life of 100,000 miles. In FY 27, we will have 3 vehicles that have met that life, and we will replace them with 22-foot LTVs. This funding is 80% federal, 10% state, and 10% local. The federal funding is $85,000. The state is $42,000, and the local is $42,000. The state always asks that we include their portion in our local match in case they can't cover it. They have yet to do that, though. So. And then our next public hearing is for the FY 27 5311 administration grant. This grant covers admin positions in our transportation office. We are receiving $276,000. 80% of that is federal, which is $221,000. 20%, it would be our local match if state didn't cover of $55,000, If state covers their local match, their match, it's 5% at $13,000, and our 15% is $41,000. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions? No? Thank you. We do not have anyone signed up for these three public hearings. No one signed up. Having no speakers signed up, is there anyone here visiting tonight that wishes to speak on these three hearings? I will now close each of the three public hearings. Next on the agenda is item 25-527, Recognize Lifesaver Award Recipient. I will recognize Patrick Nyland, Deputy County Manager, concerning this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, it's my honor to recognize one of our Union County Fire Marshals. While at the beach with his family on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, Assistant Fire Marshal Chad Balcom heard a cry for help coming from the ocean. Without hesitation, he and a bystander acted quickly to run into the water, place the unconscious man on a boogie board, and bring him to shore. When they got to shore, local police had arrived, and they began administering chest compressions. Balcom then applied an automated external defibrillator to the man's chest and took over chest compressions. When local firefighters and paramedics arrived, Balcom continued to assist and help load the patient into an ambulance and be taken to a nearby hospital. Unfortunately, that man did succumb to his injuries days later, but without Chad being there and the bystander, he would not have had that opportunity. It just goes to show you that our employees are employees no matter where they are. He was at a beach with his family, and he was called to act, and we couldn't be more proud. So if you help me, please ask Chad to come up and receive his award.
Next is an item that is not listed on our agenda this evening. The board would like to take a few moments to recognize someone extremely special to our county, to the staff, and especially to the Board of County Commissioners. We wish to recognize our clerk, Ms. Lynn West, who recently reached a huge milestone here in Union County of serving for 35 years to Union County and the Board of Commissioners. 35 years. Who does that? Please join me in congratulating this very special woman and the many years of dedicated service to this organization.
Oh yeah, you got some goodies.
These absolutely reflect the beauty of this lady right here. Oh my goodness.
Megan's gonna get your picture. Yeah, go ahead.
I would keep her all to myself. That wouldn't be fair. Squeeze in tight. The next item, which is on the agenda, Ms. Lynn, is the consent agenda. If there is no objection, I'm going to move item 25-433, purchase of library books, to the first business agenda item for further discussion. Are there any other changes or comments? For you, Mindy? That'd be great.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we approve the business agenda and also the consent agenda as amended.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We are now at the business portion of our agenda. The first item on the business agenda is the item we just motioned to move, is item 25-433, purchase of library books.
So, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So this item, I know that in previous meetings, we've had some discussions about this item, and there were some concerns, I believe, raised in especially children's books and the purchase of children's books and how that works, how that functions. For the board's knowledge, we have 4 senior librarians that are actually responsible for the making selections for books. We have categories of adult nonfiction, adult fiction, teen, and then children's books. And those 4 individuals, they actually they are specific to one of those categories. Once they make a selection, then Nina, our library director, does look over that and eventually says yes or no to whatever those books are that are purchased. And that's the process that we have now. I know that there were some concerns about a recent book that we had in here. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Nina is here as well if I can't answer any questions. But that's our process that we have currently in place for how we purchase books for the library.
Okay, and I know Commissioner Helms serves on the committee, so Nina and where are the 4? Oh, okay, okay. Okay, well, thank you for being here. So we get a lot of complaints from time to time, and one was recently over a particular book that was in the children's section. And I think one of the biggest complaint is usually around the children's books, whether something is not age appropriate or has sexual content or gender identity or something in a children's section. And although my children are grown, I can understand when those parents reach out to us, that their small child was, saw something that, was not age appropriate for them, and understanding, what one parent would or would not approve for their children to read. But most recently, I think the book that was, called into question was determined to be more tween. It kind of fell in a middle ground where younger children should not have access to that book, and maybe it shouldn't be in the children's section, and maybe a 7 or 8-year-old should not necessarily be checking out something that maybe a 13-year-old would want to check out. So right now we have adult, and I know we have children, teen, and then what's the third one, and then adult?
It's children, teen, and then adults, fiction and nonfiction.
Not fiction and nonfiction, that was the fourth category. So and Commissioner Helms and I have talked about this a lot, and when we were delaying the vote on this, tonight we're here because we recognize that we're holding up the adult fiction and nonfiction and maybe the teen category because of our concerns over what might be in the children's category. So I think something that we may want to decide is adding another category in between children and teen, and actually forming a tween category, which is what I think was determined most appropriate, for this book that was found in the children's department. So I'm going to turn it over next to Commissioner Helms, and then if Commissioner Balcom or Commissioner Brian Helms would like to chime in. This is something that I think parents have been very concerned about for at least the past, 4 years. And I think that's why it's important for our board to, discuss this openly tonight instead of at committee meetings or closed session, and just so our community can have a comfort level that, we're doing everything we can to keep an eye on this.
So, Ms. Chafin, please correct me if I'm wrong. At our last meeting, this topic was actually discussed about possibly developing a tween section, because there's a huge age gap between your 8th grader, which is considered your tween, your middle school ages, to a kindergartner and even younger, a 2- and 3-year-old for those books. That's a lot of information and a huge, a vast difference in maturity level, reading-wise. So it was recommended at our committee that a tween section be developed, because there has been concern from the public that we have received, and also that staff has received. So hopefully this will alleviate some of that issue, because again, maturity-wise, reading-wise, that is a huge difference, an 8th grader reading the same thing as a 5-year-old, a kindergartner. So if the board would please, and is open to it, I'd like to make a motion that the board, on behalf of the board, that we direct the library to create a tween section for instances such as this.
Did the board or the committee discuss what the age ranges or grade levels would be for a possible tween?
Ms. Chafin, again, correct me if I'm wrong, it's that middle school kind of niche, if you will?
Yes, so tween is typically 10 to 12 when we look at the age range when we're thinking about creating a section. The majority of juvenile fiction is for, 4th grade and up. And so when we're creating a tween section, that's kind of the target audience. Now, books aren't written for ages. They're mostly written for grades. And a publisher wants to sell as much as they can, so they're going to make the range on a grade as vast as possible to appeal to the broadest audience, which in turn generates the most money. So books are typically grades 4 through 8. well, fourth grader and eighth grader, to your point, is very different. I myself have a third grader, so I understand, and a sixth grader. And what the sixth grader is reading is not the same as the third grader, and it shouldn't be. So yes, long story short, we would target that 10 to 12. So not quite 13 yet, so not fully in the teen section, but not reading, you know, Junie B. Jones and Judy Moody, the first and second grader books. So in between.
Okay. I definitely think this is something that I would be interested, personally, with this board directing you to move forward with that. Another concern that I wanted to express for the committee and for the libraries to consider is how you promote certain books on end caps during, you know, certain, you know, seasons or holidays or months throughout the year, because even if we create this tween section, I want to make sure that we are not promoting something on an end cap that would draw the attention of maybe a third grader or a second grader, and hey, mommy, what is that? That looks interesting. I've never seen that before. So I just, you know, I really want to have that conversation openly, because we get those phone calls. We get the phone calls if they're concerned about what's on the lanyard or on the jacket or the hair or, you know, so, but the books are our taxpayer dollars. And the last book, I think you even agreed it probably should be in a tween section, not the children's section, which is what the parents were so upset about. So, did you make that motion?
I did.
Okay. Any other comments? Yeah, Commissioner Helms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Chafin, first of all, thank you for everything that you do. I don't envy your job at all. And what I'll say is that I completely agree with Commissioner Helms and also Chair Merrill that, you know, there has to be some guardrails.
Sure.
And I think that, you know, when you get down to the nitty gritty of what we do, I think protecting the children is of utmost concern. That's priority number one. So, you know, my children go to the library. They do. And they check out books. So I'm one of many, many parents within the county that have concerns over this. So I think that starting a new section like that is probably a very good first step. It's a logical step because, I mean, I don't disagree one bit that, you know, obviously children are going to be different than eighth graders. So the smaller children don't need to be reading some of the content that eighth graders or high school children, teens might read. I do have a question though, and I know that this is probably early on. So do we have, I mean, obviously this is probably going to cost us a little bit of money. Do we have any kind of rough estimate as to the creation of such a section? And will we be able to fill it out with content that, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do we have enough content to adequately fill out a section like that?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. So in essence, you're going to pull out the lower level reading material from the juvenile fiction collection because there's less of that, and we'll make a section just for those materials. So the beginning chapter books, the first grade material, second grade, things like that. And then the bulk of the juvenile fiction section is already geared towards that age range. And when we talk about juveniles, we are serving 0 to 12 in the children's room. So that's the way our policy is written now. So we go 0 to 12 as juvenile, and then we do 13 to 18 as teen. So we'll now differentiate and now have that 10 to 12 age range to be tween. And so when you get a library card and you have a minor with you, we ask you, do you want your child to have access to the entire library or just the children's room? And that's the parent's decision. And so, in essence, they're the ones stating, yes, they should have access to just the children's room, which would be a juvenile-only card. Therefore, if they tried to check out an adult item, it wouldn't allow them. Or do you want them to have access to the whole library and that they say yes, and the child could check out, a child's card could check out any material type in the library. So that's kind of the way we have it set up now.
So just for clarification, then if we create this tween section, then the juvenile cards would be for the juvenile section and not the tween section? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, so we can differentiate that if you would like us to do 0 to 10, so that just the juvenile-only materials could be just the juvenile-only card, and then, or we can do it either way. But yes, we can certainly do it that way.
That would be my preference.
Sure.
Is to
Yep.
differentiate it that way.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So Nina, I have to say, I didn't even realize that the cards differentiated. So let's say a grandparent, was watching kids for a week or a summer, or the babysitter, took them to the library. So even if a parent is not with them and they, maybe just mistakenly picked up a book or was going to pick up a book that looked interesting, if that card that the parent helped them get wouldn't allow them to check that book out, then the library wouldn't let them check it out.
No.
That's something I was not even
Yes.
aware of, so thank you for saying that tonight. That's a huge comfort.
Yes.
And I do agree with Commissioner Helms's, age ranges in the conversation to create that tween age group. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to go ahead and direct the library staff to create a tween section. And that was going to be what ages again?
10 to
10 to
12.
12, okay. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye, okay. And then the other motion that we need to take care of on the board is moving this forward so that they can place their orders for adult fiction, adult nonfiction, teen, and children. So, does anyone want to talk about that motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Before we proceed with that, maybe a point of clarification. Do we need a motion then on the separation of the juvenile cards or anything like that? Or is that just, okay, okay,
We have enough information on that.
perfect, thank you.
So I believe, staff, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's $309,000 that has been held up until we had this conversation so that they could move forward with those books for adult fiction, adult nonfiction, the teen books, and the children's books, with the understanding that we're going to be creating, we've already approved creating the tween section. I'll make the motion that we approve the $309,000 for the library to move forward with their budgeted funds for FY 2026 to go ahead and purchase the adult fiction, adult nonfiction, teen, and children books.
Can I ask one question?
Yep.
And just out of curiosity, when we say adult fiction, is there anything sexually explicit in those
No.
books at all?
No, you're talking about books for adults. So the James Pattersons, the Danielle Steeles, the John Grishams, those are categorized as adult.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And would you mind if I request that you add a little bit to your motion? Because
Okay.
in the agenda item, it says to negotiate and execute an agreement substantially consistent with the agenda item, exercise any renewal or extension term options set forth in the agreement, and terminate the agreement if deemed necessary, the county manager being given that authority. Would you consider adding that to your motion so that that would allow us and me to have that authority?
I accept that.
Thank you, ma'am.
That to the motion. Board, I just want to make sure everyone, yes. So before we vote, I do everything listed here that he just read off, okay? All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next on, oh,
That is the consistency statement for the rezoning.
okay. Next on the agenda is item 25-520, conditional rezoning petition, CZ-2025-004, Shenandoah. I will recognize Lee Jensen, our planning director, concerning this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you'll recall, last meeting, we held the public hearing for this item. This is a rezoning request from RA 40 to R10 with conditions. Those conditions are listed, limited to the site plan dated July 8th, 91 single-family homes, 5-year vesting, and that the development can meet all the requirements of the Union County Development Ordinance. And just for reference, there's the proposed site plan, again, 91 single-family homes. I think last time we had 2 speakers that spoke on this. I believe one didn't really give an opinion one way or the other, and then I think another speaker was against the proposal. And if you'll recall, the Land Use Board unanimously recommended to deny the rezoning petition. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any comments or questions from the board? Good? Oh, you have a question?
I've got a couple of
Okay. comments,
comments, Madam Chair, and I'm prepared to also make a motion. So first of all, in looking over this project, the project would entail going from RA 40 to R10. That's something that I've got potential issue with, because you're obviously increasing your density there. Our Land Use Board also looked at this, and they recommended denial, and they felt a very similar way. So they had concerns over density, traffic, and then there's also the issue, too, that one of our municipal partners there, Mineral Springs, opposes this project. And so, with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion to deny rezoning petition CZ 2025-004 from TMT LA Associates, and to adopt the consistency and reasonable statement for denial.
Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding this motion or the information provided? Or any clarification from the last meeting? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is item 25-501, appointments to boards and committees. There are 2 boards with vacancies for consideration this evening. These vacancies have been advertised in accordance to the board's rules of procedures. The first board with vacancies is the Home and Community Care Block Grant Advisory Committee. There are vacancies for 2 community representative positions. We have received 4 applications for these 2 vacancies. I will now entertain a motion for nominations to this committee.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Helms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make the motion that we reappoint B. Colson and Patricia Kinley to the Home and Community Care Block Grant Advisory Committee.
Any other motions? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. The second board with vacancies is the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. There are 9 total vacancies in a variety of position categories. I will now entertain a motion for nominations to this committee.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Helms.
There's a lot of appointments to be made on this one, so I'm going to try to get this right. Ms. Lynn, you feel free to correct me if I'm messing something up here. I think we probably should start with the members there with specialties. So I'll make the motion that we appoint or reappoint Kiala Davis to the position of Member of Business Community, and then Rachel Patton, reappoint Rachel to the position of Substance Abuse Professional, and then Lily Patton to the position of Persons Under the Age of 21.
Okay, all those in favor of those three reappointments, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
All right, so the second part of this would be the commissioner appointee vacancies. So we have 4 open positions. I'll make the motion that we reappoint Teresa M. Holmes, that we also reappoint Angie Horn, that we reappoint Christopher M. Westover, and we appoint Bob Reichman.
Any other motions, changes? All those in favor say aye.
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 Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a point of clarification maybe from the clerk. Do we need to take action on the other 2 individuals listed in our agenda packet, Madam Clerk?
Not tonight.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I would like to recognize our county manager, Brian Matthews, for comments.
I have no comments. Thank you very much.
And now we will have commissioner comments, and I will start with Commissioner Clancy Balcom.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. The only thing I would like to say is, in recognition of Miss Lynn, very well deserved. You know, when I first came to the board, she makes you feel at home. She's a very comforting presence and welcoming presence. And I knew she would be, because I've heard my family brag on her, including Stoney and my Aunt Mildred, who was a good friend to Miss Lynn. So I think the recognition of Miss Lynn is very well deserved.
Commissioner Christina Helms.
First, I'd like to express my sincere condolences to the Verado, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Verardo.
Verardo, pardon me, family, for his dedication and service to this country, that it's a gratitude that we can never repay for all that he's done in sacrifice and all that family has done in sacrifice for a lot of the freedoms that we very much take for granted. So very much thoughts and prayers for them. Wishing a very happy and successful year to all the UCPS staff and students that have gone back to school. Everybody's still trying to get into the swing of things, and I think it's going well from what I hear. But a very special shout out to Miss Lynn West. If you know Miss Lynn at all, if ever had a conversation with Miss Lynn, you know that she has one of the kindest souls you will ever meet in your life. I heard a lot about her prior to coming onto this board. Dealt with her just a little bit when I was on the Board of Education, not a lot, but you know, enough to say hello and recognize her face. But what a gem she is to this county and our staff, and especially to this board. Her wealth of knowledge is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. And I hope you have another 35 years here, Miss Lynn.
At the beach.
Yeah.
Commissioner Brian Helms.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll also offer my condolences to the Verardo family, praying for God's grace and his blessings upon them. For Ms. Lynn, gosh, 35 years, I mean, that's really impressive. And I can tell you that everything that you've heard about Miss Lynn is absolutely true. She is a pleasure to work with, and, you know, she really is the glue that holds a lot of things together for us. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've called or I've texted, you know, probably asking the same question 3 or 4 times, and she just puts up with me. So, but we are very, very fortunate to have her, and we certainly appreciate your service. UCPS was honored. I saw that earlier today. So our schools here, more specifically Marvin Ridge, Weddington, Rayview, and I may be missing one, but we had a number of schools being recognized as some of the best within the state of North Carolina today. So hats off to UCPS and the job that all of our educators, as well as all of our staff, do there. We're obviously without our county attorney tonight, Mr. Jason Kay, and also Commissioner Gary Sides. Just wishing both of them a speedy recovery, and you know, obviously thank you to everybody that was in attendance tonight. You know, your participation means the world of us. So certainly appreciate you guys coming out and joining us tonight. Thank you.
I'll try to make this real quick, Miss Lynn. I tell her all the time, we love you so much. You know, and it seems kind of silly when you have elected officials up here. We're like, we love you, Miss Lynn. And my closest family, my family is all the way out on the coast. They're about 5 or 6 hours away, and so I don't have family here. But 8 years on the Board of Education, and that became family. And as soon as I walked over, I just remember Stoney saying, "You are going to love Lynn West," and he's right. I know that Stoney loved you like a mother, and you were family to him, and you very quickly took very, very good care of us, and I hope we return that favor to you. We enjoy working with you, and those are very true words. She is just a gem to work with. You're a blessing to all of us. So congratulations. I don't know how you did all of this for 35 years, because I'm just trying to get to 4. So 35, thank you and your husband for all the work that you have done to this amazing Union County over all of those many years. Thank you for your service to everyone who came before us. You're a true blessing to work with, and we appreciate you very, very much. I do want to say, you know, for all the educators and teachers and principals and moms and dads and guardians and everyone who have gotten their children back in school, we hope everyone is off to a safe, fun, rich learning environment. I always ask kids when I'm out in the community, I'm like, how many of you would like a $200,000 scholarship? And all the hands go up. And I let people know your public education is not free. And for 13 years, that's about what it takes to get you through what I consider the #1 public schools in North Carolina. Union County Public Schools usually ranks number 3, number 2, number 1 in the whole state out of 115, 116 school districts in North Carolina. And Union County Public Schools, and I know others in the area, perform very, very well. So, don't take it for granted, because, it does cost local tax dollars, state, federal tax dollars. And last time I checked, I think it, was, per pupil expenditure, it's a pretty penny for 13 years of education. So don't take that for granted. Make the most of it, because Union County, just like you mentioned, gets named all the time as the best place to raise a family. So I want to ask all the drivers in Union County to please be patient and alert for our school buses. They're learning new routes, and I think children are being added or removed to different routes on a daily basis. So please, if you see a bus, even if they haven't gotten out their stop sign yet, keep a close eye on them, because we want to make sure that our children are safe getting on and off the school buses. We wish all the children a really great school year. And in closing, I will say again, Sergeant Michael Verardo, look him up. I failed to mention earlier, he was with the 82nd Airborne. He was an amazing young Army patriot, and I encourage everyone to look him up. That's your homework. And take a look at the Independence Fund and the work that they're doing across the nation, so that veterans can have mobility and other benefits that they provide right out of Union County. So with that being said, I make a motion that we can adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Good night.